What's happening, gamers? K Mega 405 coming to you live from the 405. Well, I'm not technically live because there's a video. This is something new that I'm bringing to the table. For those that when I do my thoughts streams, they're usually kind of long. So I was like, let me do a topic and make a video about it so it could be a lot quicker. So for those out there that just tends to want to check out a topic or so that I want to bring up, and then they just don't have time to check out the whole stream. My thoughts, that's fine. Let me just kind of reach out to y'all this way. So anyway, I want to touch on something that I seen last week that had me kind of disturbed, which was, and this has been happening for a very long time, which is pretty much gamers or media or someone of that nature that's trying to shame gamers into buying games, which is kind of strange because some of these content creators out there that gets out and tries to do all this shaming get free codes. So it's kind of wild to me. So when you got people that get out here and they went and talk and try to shame gamers, case in point, seen a content creator, former journalist. I don't know if he still claims himself to be a journalist. Get out here and shame Xbox gamers for not buying Final Fantasy 16 to his liking. It's one of these things to me that cracks me up. It's because I feel that as gamers, if you choose to want to get a game at whatever time that you want to, how you want to, is the most important. And then when this person was trying to downgrade the Xbox community because of the fact that this person, that gamers didn't get this game because of these so-called numbers of 70,000 sold or whatever, it was still charted in the top 20, in the top 10 or whatever last month. So from that same chart that brought up about the 70,000 for Final Fantasy 16, they also said for another console that a game that was called Death Stranding 2 only sold 700,000 copies out of 80 million consoles. So when we're talking about bad attach rate, come on, stay in your own backyard. But regardless, number one, who gives a damn about what somebody else thinks about your pockets? It's just like I said before, a lot of these content creators, some of the bigger ones, of course, and even me, I have a smaller channel, but I do sometimes get review codes to show off certain games or things of that nature. But bigger channels, they get a lot more of these review codes because of their channel size. And so again, when they get out here and try to shame gamers, and maybe it's part of their contract or something of that nature, I don't know. I'm not trying to tell anybody that you shouldn't buy games, but it's not about, but when you're getting free games, then you should not be one of these people that try to shame others, because the reality of it is that hell, number two, is that these corporations are trying to price gamers out. For instance, when you look and you see in the top 10, you're always going to see the games that always chart, which is, as you can see here on the other side of me right here, is college football. You see NBA 2K. Ready or Not is doing really well. It's a game that needs a little bit of work, in my opinion, but it's still fun. Played it not too long ago. And you look at the classics, it's a lot of different type of games here. Like, I mean, just look up here, it's in the top 10, you got Death Stranding, a game that is supposedly not what Xbox gamers want to sink their teeth into, regardless of the fact of it is that this is a difference, has old, new, it's classics like Cyberpunk, you got Hogwarts Legacy. You look in here and you see, Killing Floor 3, which is pretty good. I'm still thinking that I like Killing Floor 2 a little bit better, but that's a whole nother topic. I'm starting to get a little bit used to the controls and things of that nature on Killing Floor 3. But then, like I just said, like you got all different types of games here. You got the show, but right now, even though that Final Fantasy 16 charted in the top 20, it is like in the top 70 right now, or the top 100. It's like 72 or something like that right now. But again, it's one of these things. If gamers are not ready to get these games at their pace, then why not buy? Why not wait until you see another sale or anything of that nature? It's no different than what certain other gamers do when it comes to other games. I mean, this is a lot of great games that's just been um, pushed out there. And there might be a fan of fighters like I am. You might be a fan of shooters. You might be a fan of sports games. If those games are top priority, then a game like Final Fantasy 16 or a game like Death Stranding or a game like Death Stranding 2, it might not be your first priority. It might be something that's a priority later, which is fine, but no one should shame you for it. I remember going on a podcast some years back and was asked, well, do I buy games? And of course I buy games. I have a huge library of games on my Xbox. I have a smaller library on PlayStation, and I got a huge library on my PC, and a smaller than anything is on my Nintendo, but I still buy games. But the thing that was brought up to me was, well, if you buy these games, do you beat them right then? And I'm like, not all the games. I mean, I kind of buy games in bulk sometimes. I look for sales, I get a game sale, and then, on occasion, I'll buy brand new games that I'm really interested in. And then there was kind of like this whole shaming me about, well, if you can't beat that game right there, then you're not labeled as a gamer. It was the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. But again, it's just these weird narratives and these weird takes to try to make it seem like they're a better gamer than you, or that they're in a different class than you because of certain games that you may play, or whatever the case may be. And the reality of it is that they sound pretty stupid. It's about your money. It's about your time. It's about what you want to do. And if these companies want to price you out, then wait. And then another thing too, going back to the very first beginning of my point, is that they also were shaming Game Pass or game services. And that is really, to me, is the wildest thing ever, because I've made this point before, talking about there's always been game services of some kind all through the history of gaming. You go back to your mom and pop video store that would rent out Nintendo NES games or Sega games or things of that nature. And then it moved up to Blockbuster Video and to Hollywood Video. And then you have things like Redbox. And when before Netflix is what it is now, Netflix was a service that you could rent games. You could rent games and movies, and they would send them to your home. That's a service. That is a service. And then also you have games that you had GameFly, which is still around. There was so many different ways of having access to games. Not as effective as what I would say Game Pass is, or even with Ubisoft Plus or EA Play, or even when you're looking at the streaming services, when you're looking at what's going on with NVIDIA, which is a really good service. It is the best. I would say that NVIDIA and Luna has the best streaming service, have the best cloud service. And then after that is xCloud. xCloud was out of sight in the beginning, but then NVIDIA come and did what they did, and it's bananas. But still, these services are very, 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 very important to consumers out there that just want to sink their teeth into games. Because what is the most biggest priority for young adults, old adults, gamers in general, is I got bills to pay, I have a family to feed, or hell, I just got me to take care of and pay my bills and feed myself. So that's the most important thing for anybody that's into the game. And so the one thing that they'll do is that maybe they'll just resort back, not spend the money on certain games that they may be interested in, and go ahead and get a gaming service like Game Pass and have access to all these games. Like, being smart with your money and accepting the value is a smart thing. It is not a dumb thing. And there's people that really, really want something like Game Pass to go away, while, like I said before, these people still get free games. It is the most ridiculous notion and thing that I've ever seen in my life. But here we are. These people will shame you and make you feel like you're broke or poor, or that you're just not a true gamer because of the fact that you don't want to buy these games day one, spend $70, $80. Now there's games that's up to $90 for something that could work day one and be great, or could absolutely be broken and you have to wait for a patch. And then if the game is too bad, then it's going to be hell to try to get a refund. It's not worth it. It's just not worth it. Sometimes you just have to wait. And sometimes even if it's the game that you want the most, sometimes you just have to wait. And you have to also show these companies is that, listen, we understand that you want to hit a bottom line, but I have a bottom line at home as well. And if if I've bought games from you before and these games aren't working to the capability that they should, then why should I go ahead and just go all in day one and spend $70 plus if your game is not going to be properly, it's not going to be proper and I have to wait on you to get your act together? That's not fair to the consumer whatsoever. So I don't know. I just think that when it comes down to it, gaming services is a fantastic notion. Nobody's telling to anybody that you can't buy games, because buying games is also beneficial. That's why gaming services do make a lot of sense, because you can still buy games. You can get discounts. Also, if you can't buy that game right then and there, you may spend some money on the Ultimate, which is around, I think the most of what I've ever paid for was like $40. So, and the least that I paid was around $10 for a premium, for the premium. And then later on, if the game was up to the game, normally when I'm going to pay for the premium, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to buy the game anyway later on. But you still have those discounts. There's nothing wrong with that. And especially you're also promoting that game, because if the game is fire, then you're going to sit there and show it off. You're going to talk about it. And it's another win for the gaming community as a whole, because things like Game Pass, things like gaming services are beneficial in a time where everything has gone up, nothing has gone down. And sometimes people just need that relief. And if you have the money, this is the reality of it. When people do have the money, they usually send them to hold on to their money instead of just throwing it out there. Because usually when people just kind of throw away their cash, they find themselves being broke a lot quicker than others out there that knows how to understand value. So anyway, don't let anybody try to tell you or shame you on what you need to buy, when you need to buy it. If you want that game day one, buy it day one. If you want the, as we call it, the shut up edition, which is the ultimate edition of the game, and you want that game right then and there, go get it. I've done it many times. But there's also times that I'm looking at it and I'm like, I think I might go ahead and wait. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. If you need to wait for a deep sale, maybe you want to buy that game 2 or 3 years down the line and it's at the perfect price. It is up to you. You're the consumer. You're the one that dictates how you spend your money. That's all I really want to talk about on this topic. And so next time I'll definitely do this again. And if you like this, please let me know. And if you have not subscribed to the channel, if you like my content, please do hit the like button. I would like to hear your guys' thoughts on this. And hey, do you agree with some of these people out here that tell you that you need to buy these games day one to support the developers? Or is it one of these things where, hey, maybe the developers need to understand, or publishers need to understand, that we want to buy your games, but man, you're pricing us out. Y'all need to pump the brakes a little bit and let us enjoy your games. Make sure you get the games properly done before you launch them. And maybe we could trust you more on giving you a hard-earned dollars. So anyway, thanks everybody. Until the next one, be easy. Peace.